Stop hoarding. I can't be more blunt about it. Stop it. It's not sensible, it's not helpful, and I've got to say it's been one of the most disappointing things I've seen in Australian behaviour in response to this crisis. That is not who we are as a people. It is not necessary. It is not something that people should be doing. What it does is it is distracting attention and efforts that need to be going into other measures to be focusing on how we maintain supply chains into these shopping centres. There is no reason for people to be hoarding supplies in fear of a lockdown or anything like this. As I've said, we're putting in place scalable and sustainable measures. I'll read you specifically what the AHPPC has said to ensure that there is absolutely no confusion. The AHPPC advises against the bulk purchase of foods, medicines and other goods. We discourage the panic purchase of food and other supplies. I am seeking Australia's common sense cooperation with these very clear advisory positions. Stop doing it. It's ridiculous. It's un-Australian and it must stop. And I would ask people to do the right thing by each other in getting a handle on these sorts of practices. Also, do not abuse staff. We're all in this together. People are doing their jobs. They're doing their best. Whether they're at a testing clinic this morning, whether they're in a shopping centre, whether they're at a bank, whether they're at a train station, everybody is doing their best. So let's just support each other in the work that they are doing. And I encourage you, please, if you see someone who's doing that, just call it out and ask them to just refrain from doing that. That's the right thing to do. Now, moving on to the other matters that I had to raise today, and I'll throw to Brendan. The government is considering quite extensively further economic measures that will deal with the strength and the strengthening of our safety net and cushioning the even greater impact of the coronavirus on the Australian economy, particularly on small businesses and individuals. Last week, we focused very much on the stimulus type activity, encouraging investment, encouraging demand into the economy, providing support to small business. The measures that we are focusing on now are of a different nature. They are focused more on the cushioning impact of the safety net for individuals and on small businesses. The Reserve Bank has been involved in our discussions on those issues. They'll obviously make their decisions independently as is appropriate. But we are putting in place further measures and we will announce them once they've been properly designed and they can be properly implemented. We are not delaying, we are moving with great haste on this. But we're doing it carefully to ensure we get the design of those measures right so they can be implemented as quickly as possible and provide that support. On the health side of things, 80,000 tests have now been completed and we've been able to source additional supplies of testing kits, which is very welcome, and further supplies are being secured, and that includes having domestic solutions to the supply issues that relates to the testing equipment. The same is true for personal protective equipment, and those include, and want to thank those in the Defence Forces have also been very helpful with supply chains and logistics and other measures that we're working on now. As we found during the bushfires, they are an amazing group of people who are able to come up with some incredibly innovative solutions, and they have been worked on particularly when it comes to supply chain measures around personal protective equipment.